Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is your host with the most, Philly Jim, coming to you guys with a quick live stream. We're going to have a round table. We got a few guests to my right. You got LindyEndzone dropping buckets, dropping dimes. We got JC down here in the corner. And then we got BirdGang31, man. So what's up, everybody, man? I hope you guys are doing good tonight. So what's good, fellas?
Man, it's all good, my guy. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Glad to have you here. What's good, Lindy?
Not much, man. Just seemed like the other day we had that call-in going on. so I mean, good to hang out with you.
We don't talk about that, man.
I know.
Some things are just unspeakable.
I know. Changed real quick.
And the unspeakable happened for sure.
No
what
doubt.
up, JC? You good, bro?
Hell yeah, I'm good. Hey, any day I get to come on your show and talk about the birds, I'm good. Any day.
Any day's good with me, man. Yeah. So we got some people already here in the comments. Philly Sports Podcast. Yo, what up, guys? Big Play Slay.
Yes, sir.
And Reaper Talon 92.
Talon, what up, my guy?
And Jock Talk. What's up, bro? I'm doing good, man. How are you, man? Glad to see you here tonight. So let's go ahead and let's talk about what we're talking about. What we were talking about off camera, which was the upcoming preseason game, which is going to be tomorrow against cross-state rivals, Pittsburgh Steelers. So, what are you guys really looking for in this game? Like, obviously, the starters are going to play some snaps, but probably not a whole lot of snaps. Maybe around like 10 snaps or so. It would be my guess. But what are you guys looking for? You looking for some? Personally, I'm looking for the offense to like get it humming, show what they can do, put some points on the board. I have a lot of confidence in the defense. But what are you guys really looking forward to for this game?
Kick it off, Lindy.
Anybody want to go?
I guess we started from the top and working our way down, but
yeah.
No, I mean this is going to be an important measuring stick, obviously for the entire football team in general, and more offensively speaking, because that's where most of the injuries seem to be occurring, and a lot of those affect Jalen Hurts the most. When you talk about chemistry and continuity on this football team, you're losing receivers left and right, and Devontae Smith is still out with that MCL sprain, and then you lose offensive linemen. And for what it's worth, Andre Dillard is gone. Brandon Brooks is now finally, he's finally back, but he's a little bit limited. Isaac Samuel is a little bit limited. But those are factors that key in, especially for those guys being first-string offensive linemen. Like you want the entire system in unison and together, so they can build timing. So they can build timing as a unit. So going into this first preseason game, this is going to be one of the first ultimate tests for the Eagles and how as far as going as Sirianni does his play calling and in unison with Shane Steichen, like the communication between both coaches there to the quarterback, how many snaps Jalen Hurts gets, how efficient he looks, how long he's going to be on the field, and so on and so forth. Because I mean, roster cuts are going to be coming around the corner. So between our common looks for offensive and defensive performance, I'm hoping that some guys that seem to be outside on the roster bubble actually, show themselves, like show their worth, to possibly make the roster and prove that they have a spot in the NFL as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point, man. Like, you just want to see him come out and get off to a good start, see what kind of chemistry they have already, and see, build on that and get ready for the season, man. So, AC, what you looking for in this preseason game?
Look, I mean, and it's funny because I had a live earlier, and I literally talk about all day tomorrow, basically today, tomorrow. So I want to see this. I know our defense, but I still want our defense because I feel like that we are going to win off of our defensive backs, like defense period.
Yeah.
Because I'm not expecting us to put 30, 40 points up. I want our defense to be dominant. Like last year, we had about 47 to 49 sacks. not blitzing. So this year, I want to see what is the difference from last year. All right, we don't have Jim Shorts no more, so I don't want to see the same Jim Shorts play calls on defense. If we could if we could stop the offense to like 17 points, maybe 20 points a game, and then we put up 21, 24. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal. If we could put that much points up and then our defense held up, there's no way we should not be in a good position, regardless how the offense plays, because I feel like our defense is going to win us some championship. Just like the playoffs, the wild card. It wasn't even the wild card. It was the second game because
divisional round.
A divisional round. Nick Foles didn't do crap that game. He just didn't manage to lose it. Our defense is the one that made us won that game. Because if we would have gave up, I think it was 17 points or 21 points, we would have lost. Seriously, we would have lost. So I want our defense to be as dominant back in 2017, where we led the league in, turnovers all around. We led the league in turnovers. So Jalen Hurts just needs to manage the game, period. So tomorrow, because I was there this past Sunday, I said this, every time first team, second team, third team went on the field, it was a bad play. It was either a turnover, a fumble, or something that happened that was bad. Maybe it was nerves, but I don't know what it was. But in a real game, you can't start off like that. You can't start with interceptions, fumbles, or sacks. But you can't. So I want to see a clean game tomorrow. I want to see, because look, it came out yesterday that Nick Sirianni said this. The biggest advantage that the Philadelphia Eagles have is the unknown factor. I've been saying that the whole damn off season. He literally came out and said it yesterday, say nobody know our play calls. So I'm looking for a whole bunch of dummy plays right now. Maybe we could use later on down the future, week 8 or 9, when people forget about those dummy plays, and then we bring them back on. But I just want to see us a clean, a first offensive drive. Even if the first offensive drive don't go well, show me a second one. But I don't want to see first offensive drive is bad, second offensive drive is bad, third offensive. No, I don't want to see that. I want to see improvement as we go along. It's the first preseason game, so I'm not going to put too much stock into it. I won't buy. This is a time I will buy stock because it's so low. You know what I mean? So the second preseason game, I think is going to be higher, and third preseason game is going to be higher because we only had 3. But this is the game right here. If you was betting against the Eagles, you would want to buy stock in, because it really, we should not overreact to what we see tomorrow. I don't want us to kill Nick or Jalen or nothing like that. The following week, maybe, but I want to see something that I didn't see on Sunday. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree. So yeah, it's just like you said about not turning the ball over, not having a lot of bad plays. You want to come out and set the tone and do really good. So that's a lot of good points that you just made. So one thing I would like to add, though, this game is just like the first preseason game. So the second game is more so of like the dress rehearsal, like that, like generally over the past, as long as time has gone, the third preseason game has been that, but the shortened preseason, it's going to be more likely to be the second game. So BirdGang31. So what are your thoughts on this upcoming game against the Steelers, and what do you really want to see happen tomorrow night?
Like, I kind of, like you just said, I kind of see it, since we did eliminate that 4th game, I would like to see the starters stay in like a quarter,
Okay.
Knock the rust off, stay in the quarter, show me some efficient football, I want to see high energy, whether you make mistakes or not. I just want to see positive come out of it. I don't want to see heads down. I want to see everybody up, supporting each other, no turnovers, and I want to see some scores early. You know, like he
Definitely.
said, we are supposed to be electric this year. We have young talent that has a lot of speed. Now, some of our key players are out, but that's no excuse. You know, if Jalen's playing to not score some touchdowns, I don't want to see it like the Dallas game where they only scored 3 points. You know, against the Steelers. I want our backups to do good. I want our third string to do good. I want everybody out there playing like they've been playing throughout the practice, and let's show everybody that they are here to, make a statement this year. We're not that four
Yeah, for real.
team last year. You know what I'm saying? We are the same Eagles that have been going to the playoffs, dominating division, for a while now. So just come back out and right off the jump, just like pop them in the mouth, you know? Don't give them time to think about it. And just keep attacking. Kind of like, remember when Chip Kelly came in preseason, running up the score on people,
Super Bowl.
Yeah, for real.
Don't tell me.
We used to go undefeated in the preseason.
Yeah. But something like that, like Nick said, we got new defense, new offense, and no one knows what we're going to do. So prove it. Even if they are dummy plays, like, JC just said, let the dummy plays be good dummy plays. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's execute at a high level. Let's build everybody's confidence up right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? We don't want it to be in there only scoring like 3 points like the Cowgirls and sitting there thinking, oh, what if, could they really, let's help these fans get on the bandwagon now, because a lot of people are on the fence about the Eagles this year, even though I believe that we're going to have a great season. There's a lot of Eagles fans out there that's hesitant to jump on that ride, and let's go ahead and give them something to jump on right now. First preseason game, stay in the quarter, score a couple of times, whether it's a touchdown, a field goal, or 3 field goals, whatever. As long as you're driving the ball, showing consistency, showing that you can move the ball at will. Defense, I don't want to see our first team defense get scored on, period. That defense is amazing. Like they should be amazing. I don't really see them blocking. I don't even think Big Ben's playing, maybe not. Is he going to play? Do you know? Because I don't think he played last game. Yeah, so I don't think he's. So Big Ben definitely not in there. There should be no points scored with our first team. You know what I'm saying? So go in there, execute, have fun, show a lot of energy, and just give us something to, hang our hats on. Let us know that we're going to have a good season this year.
Yeah, for real. And you talk about being on the fence, man. So next thing we should talk about is, like, what are your guys? Do you guys have any really like some concerns that you'd like to share about the Eagles going into this upcoming season? I'll start. I'll go first. This is my main concern, is that we have so many young guys on the team that's just, there's not a lot of experience there on the offense. The defense is totally different. There's a lot of veterans on the defense, but when you look at like a lot of our skill players, a lot of them are second-year players, third-year players. I think Goddard's a fourth-year player. So, short of Ertz, you don't really have any experience there of guys that's been in the league for at least 5 years. So I feel like sometimes the inexperience can show, and you're more prone to make more mistakes. So do you guys have any other any real concerns going into this season?
I mean, we can think of like multiple concerns, obviously, just based on the construction of the team right now, and a lot of, there's a lot of first-year faces in there between the head coach and the defensive coordinator, the linebackers coach even, and Nick Rallis is only 27 years old. How well is he going to translate his teachings to the linebacking corps and stuff like that? But, we have to imagine that, going into this season, there's going to be a lot of growing pains. There's going to be, there's going to be a lot of development. There's going to be a lot of growth. Like we're not necessarily in a position to where we're going to fix things overnight to what happened in 2020, because as disastrous as it was, this isn't a 1-year repair. It's essentially going to be a 2-year, based on how well the draft capital has been built going into 2022. So one of the concerns that I specifically have is how committed the Eagles are going to be in Jalen Hurts after this season, based on how he was brought in 2020 and trying to have him as a gadget type quarterback and doing all this wildcat garbage and meshing him in there with Carson when it most certainly didn't work. But with him being the number one now, and this essentially being his quote-unquote rookie season as the starting quarterback, I want to know if the organization, like the Philadelphia Eagles themselves, and of course, Jalen does control this based on how well he plays or not, but I want to know how invested the Eagles are going to be in Jalen Hurts moving forward outside of 2021. If, Carson was a number 2 pick back in the draft of 2016. That's all fine and dandy. Jalen Hurts was a second rounder. Okay. But when you're still making a pretty hefty investment, wouldn't you think, at the quarterback spot in that regard? So what I want to know is, like, based on the amount of patience that they had with Carson going from the transition to year 1 to year 2. It was almost the same situation. You had a first-year quarterback, first-year head coach. This is the same thing here with Jalen Hurts, first-year quarterback, first-year head coach, and Nick Sirianni. I want to know the investment that these guys are going to have on if they're going to give Jalen Hurts more than 1 year, or are they going to be like, well, if he's not good this season, we're going to pull the plug and we're going to start over at that spot again. Well, I don't want us to continue to be in that kind of position. I want us to continue to have some sort of schedule of development, of having guys in-house, building players in-house instead of relying on free agency or relying on, waiver claims, whatever it may be. We got to start doing that as the Philadelphia Eagles. We got to start, breeding our own talent in-house. So that's one of my things that I can say going into this season.
That's a really valid point, and I want to just add to that it's kind of, I feel like Jalen Hurts, the amount of pressure that he has, I feel like a lot of it is not fair to him, because usually when you draft a quarterback, you usually give him like a couple years before you decide that, oh no, you know what, this guy, he can't be the guy, so we got to go in another direction. But as based on the Eagles have all these draft picks and stuff, and they're going to have cap space, so they want to go after a different quarterback if they're not sold on Hurts, then come next season, that's what they're going to do. That's exactly what they're going to do. And there's already been rumors about Deshaun Watson and all this other stuff. So, obviously, I just feel like it's a kind of an unfair situation for him to be coming into, and usually there's not this much pressure your first year as a starting quarterback. Like, you just want to go out there and do your best and try to get better, and then come back next year and you want to take that next step. But, usually have a couple years for that. But for the Eagles, it feels like if he doesn't ball out or something, then, they're going to go in another direction.
Yeah. I mean, look, I agree with everything you just said, but I'm not even worried about Jalen Hurts. I'm worried about injuries. Injuries will be the key to this year, period. Because I think if we are completely healthy on the offensive line, we are the best offensive line in the NFC East. And if we are healthy on a defensive line, we are at least top 5 in the NFL on the defensive line. So with you got your best NFC East offensive line and your top 5 defensive line, like in the NFL, you can win a lot of games. Jalen Hurts has proven to be mentally tough. He got benched in Alabama. And you know what? Tua got hurt. He came in and won him a game. Like, he won a championship for them. So, I mean, and then he went to Oklahoma and was Heisman Trophy winner up. So I'm not worried about Hurts.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the health of this team, because the past 3-4 years, it's been health. Since the 2017-18 season, we have not been healthy to start the season off. Either Peter's been hurt or Cox been hurt. Somebody has always been hurt that play a major role on our team. So health is the most important thing to me. I know what Jalen Hurts could do.
Yep.
Yes, last year, yes. I mean, they said that if he had played 16 games, he probably would have been the worst enough. This dude got thrown into the fire 4 weeks before the end of the damn season with no training camp. Half the line is injured. The only person that was healthy on the offensive line was Kelsey. And our defense was trash. Like, I mean, even though our front line, like a front four was, top 3 in the league in sacks. But still, all this thing was going wrong for him. So I feel like health is going to be the biggest thing. Offense and defense. Health is the key. Health is the key. And that's why this offseason, literally, I don't know if it's the NFL saying or mandating the coaches, but we have not practiced back past 80 to 90 minutes a day. Like the practices are over as soon as they begin. Like literally, like if you sit there and watch.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Within 80, 90 minutes, it's over with. So why are the guys getting injured? So that's my biggest concern is health.
You know what? That any season you're talking about the Eagles, you're talking about injuries. And, I think that I've been on all your channels before, and we've had this conversation. But I have a theory about this massive injury bug that has just been destroying the Eagles for the past few years. If you go back to when Chip Kelly was here, there was never ever any injuries. The team stayed healthy. Yeah, but for some reason when Doug came, all of a sudden torn ACL, meniscus, devastating injuries every year. So this is what my theory is. The coaching staff and the training staff, the strength and conditioning staff were not doing their job as far as conditioning, and guys were not really being taken care of the way that they probably should. So you know what? I think that has a lot to do with the injury. So how Sirianni and his staff is going to handle that, I think that's going to play a major role about staying healthy and whatnot.
Yeah, and then even like you said, I also think that just the baby, and we had a lot of veterans on our teams, so they didn't practice so much. They were always getting taking time off, from practicing. That itself will get you injured. If you're not out there busting your butt every day, then you can't expect them to go in the game and bust their butt and not get hurt, or when they finally do practice, not get hurt. So, injuries, like you said, I think Nick Sirianni, these guys doing some good stuff out there, keeping them agile, keeping their spirits up. And we haven't really had too many injuries, big injuries. They've been hamstrings and stuff like that. That's kind of just from when you start running around, when you haven't been running around for a while, things like that happens, So I'm not as concerned, but that is obviously a concern about our team this year. But my biggest concern are the coaches who they say they are. Are they going to come with this new stuff we're all getting hyped up about, and are they going to execute it, Or are they going to be like the ones that talk it, and when it comes game time, they're calling garbage games, because they're a lack of experience. So I want these guys to go out there. That's another reason why I want them to start fast in the preseason, because show us that you are exactly who you said you are. You know what I'm saying? You kind of showed us in practice with the competition. Everybody's doing all these new things they've never done before. They're out there grinding, busting their butt. Now, when the game comes, I want to see some new plays. I want to see some new formations. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some blitzes. I want to see some, help over the top for the cornerbacks. I want to see these things that are going to make our team better. So that's one big thing I would like to see. That my only concern is, are the coaches who they say they are, and are they going to bring that new vibe to our new swag to our team that they claim they're going to bring.
Okay. That's a lot of good points that you just brought up. So let's talk about some other stuff now. So we've pretty much been talking about the preseason biggest concerns that we all have. So let's talk about some players that we're looking forward to seeing what they can do. So what player do you guys think is going to take the biggest step on the team? For me, Josh Sweat, 100%. 100%. This dude has been putting the work in. If you've been watching him for the past couple of years, He obviously hasn't been a starter. He's likely going to be starting this year, either him or Barnett. They haven't named which one of the two is going to be the starter on the unofficial depth chart that says Derek Barnett / Josh Sweat. So they're obviously probably going to be splitting the snaps in this upcoming preseason game. But this guy he was undersized as a rookie. He was also coming off of a devastating injury in college. So, he did not get off to a great start being a 4th round pick, but his second year, he got better. You could tell that he put on some weight, put on some more bulk. So he was a lot stronger. He's very fast off the ball. He's a great defensive end. And I think that this is a guy that can possibly be a stud and get 10 plus sacks. I think that's definitely part of his. I think that's his ceiling. Like, he could be an elite pass rusher if he continues to grind, continues to do his thing and get better. So Josh Sweat is the guy that I'm looking at. He's going to take the biggest step, and he's going to be a big reason why the Eagles defense is really good. He's going to be a big reason why they win a lot of football games.
Well, since Jim started on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go offensive side of the ball for a little bit of diversity here. Offensively, my guy to watch is Quez Watkins. And, going from last year, this kid was on and off the injury list, dealing with, maybe COVID at some point. He comes back into the fold. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback, and he shows a flash in that Arizona Cardinals game. Between that and between opportunities that he was able to make more plays, whether he was targeted or not. I think there was another play he could have made in the Washington game. The connection just wasn't there. I think it was a misplaced ball by Jalen Hurts. But either way, you've seen some spots of where he had really good route running, and this was just in a rookie season that really did not benefit these first-year players at all. So going into year 2, he heard the chirping of some people. Yeah, and a lot of these rookies did get their fair shares of criticism, and some more than others. As we know, Jalen Reagor was one of the biggest guys that has gotten criticized so far. But as far as Quez goes, he's the biggest thing to me is that he's taken this pretty dang seriously. The strides that he continues to make in camp, he's always one of those standout guys in the receiver group, and that receiver group is pretty competitive right now. I mean, Fulgham's another guy that's trying to show his presence. Hightower was one of those until he's been battling with some issues of consistency, and now he's out with a groin injury. So sometimes the injuries, while negative, they are a blessing in disguise for some other players that could really make an impact in trying to move up the depth chart. And Quez Watkins is one of them, where we've seen in that Sunday practice where he catches that bomb on a play that kind of goes off.
Amazing play.
Hurts rolls to his left and he hits him on in a 50-50 catch situation. He mosses his guy, which I think was Anthony Harris. And so, I mean, offensively, simply put, I'm looking for Quez Watkins to have that, that progressive type of season.
Yeah, Lindy, that's a great choice, Quez. That's one dude that everyone's been talking about, and people have been saying, look, like everyone going into the season when the Eagles drafted Devontae, they were like, all right, so we pretty much know that Devontae and Jalen are going to be our main 2 receivers, but now Quez is like, look, I'm here. Like, I have arrived, and he might be the second guy on the team, so Reagor, he got to be on his A game, or, he going to be the number 3 or number 4 on the depth chart there. So, yeah, Quez is definitely putting in the work. Great choice.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's on the unofficial depth chart. He's number 2 behind Jalen Reagor on the outside. That's a pretty good start for him. So.
Yep, that boy is ready. JC?
I'm going with Barnett.
Oh, okay.
I need Barnett because he broke Reggie White's set record, and I'm looking at him like a 5th round draft pick. and not expecting nothing from him. And he got about 15 sacks in 4 years. Yeah, that's all right. You know, fifth, sixth round draft pick. You all right. This dude was supposed to be the man. Like he was supposed to help. Like he was supposed
First
to be on
rounder.
the opposite side of Brandon Graham. Like Rick and Hell, like the JPP for the Giants back in the day. You know, the Michael Strahan from the Giants back in the day. You know, but this dude so far, I don't know what it is though, but this offseason, wow, he's been on fire.
He's motivated because he's in a contract year.
Contract year. I mean, his name, Hurts name, Sweat name are the three biggest names that keep popping up day after day, consistently. I've never heard this guy name pop up before. I almost forgot that he was on our team, you know, in the past. But this offseason, wow, he's
been
beast.
putting the work in.
He's putting the work in. And I even suggested today that Sweat and Barnett be the 2 ends starting. And Graham and Kerrigan come off the bench. Because that's how much praise I'm hearing from Barnett and Sweat. So why not have your 2 best guys, your best defensive end in it to start the game? I mean, LeGraham is just happy to be on the team right now. Your Graham is like, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be in Philly still. Hey, thank you for keeping me here. He's grateful. So why not just go up to him and say, hey, look, why not be that home run batter for us? A third round or the cleanup guy for us. You know, hey, just let Sweat and Barnett just go off. And then you just come, these guys are tired. When you are dominating. You think last year you almost had 10 sacks? This year you will get 10 sacks because we are so strong up front that I feel like that the second group is going to feast, especially in the fourth quarter. So Barnett is the guy. I could say Cox. I mean, I could say Slay, but I think Barnett because we did his contract for a reason. So maybe he's a trade bait. I wouldn't trade him. I would just let him play this last year out and see if we could come to, an agreement at the trade deadline or whatever. But Barnett is my guy. Barnett. I know, hey, BirdGang31 was going to say Watkins, but Lindy stole that from him. So he was about to say Barnett or Sweat. Yeah. I stole that from him. So
now what you gonna say?
All right, I'm gonna go with Goddard.
Oh, okay.
This is Goddard's year. Everybody's hyped him up. He's, we had this whole Zach Ertz thing. From what I'm hearing, Zach Ertz is outplaying him right now.
Balling.
And that's not what the narrative should be right now. I want to see if Goddard can go ahead and pull it together. Show everybody he's that elite tight end that we all know he can be. He's faster than Ertz. He's stronger than Ertz. He pass blocks better than Ertz. So why is Ertz outplaying you right now is my question. But I think Goddard's going to turn some heads this year. With our run game and our pass game, if they're executing at a high level like we know they can, because basically if our run game gets started with all those backs back there, that's going to bring 8 men in the box. So our receivers are going to feast. Now, if you try to go stop the receivers, that's going to leave the middle of the field wide open for Goddard. And this could be a really big year for him if he gets his head out of his ass and start playing some football. Don't let Ertz come back in here with us, Ertz is a pro bowler, you know what I'm saying? He's the guy that was there. He's the guy that you're supposed to be replacing. Don't let him outshine you now and lower your confidence going into the season to the point where you let Ertz get back in the door because he's already out the door. Ertz is gone,
Yep, it's just like
he's playing now. He's kind of working himself back into there to the point where now you're not going to get the opportunity you would have had. And this is a contract year for both of them. So, I want to see Goddard step it up and show out.
It's very similar to like when Ertz was coming in when he was young. Obviously, Selleck was here. So, Ertz, he had to take the torch from Selleck. And now Goddard got to take it from Ertz. So, yeah, that's definitely true. And as far as everything you just said, I agree. When you have all the backs in the backfield, that's going to leave stuff more wide open. But also Jalen Hurts, brings that element to the game because he's pretty much like having another set of legs out there, man, because he can really run and he's strong and he can take the contact and everything too. And he can dish out the punishment as well, just like some of our running backs can. So you know what? I think that's going to play a huge factor in the offense, and it's going to give other guys, receivers, tight ends, more opportunities to make plays down the field because you got to be able to account for Jalen's ability to run the football as well as his ability to throw it.
Mm-hmm. And really, Jalen won't even have to worry about doing all that extra deep ball throwing. With that running game going, all you're gonna have to do is, 2 and 3 step drops, hit the playmaker, in stride. And these guys are good enough, fast enough to go ahead and make all the yards. Like, he's gonna have a lot of yards, but I don't see it being like how before we had to go deep all the time, to get those yards. Carson had a big game. He had to throw a couple of bombs in that game. Man, the deepest you might have to throw is 15 yards, a 15-yard post, boom, touchdown. And now you done got 80 yards off of a 15-yard post as opposed to having to chuck it, 50, 60 yards down the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got go ahead, Lindy.
Jim, but I do want to bring up the point of what JC was just talking about with his player being Derek Barnett. So right now on the unofficial depth chart, it's at that side of the defensive end position. It's 1A and 1B right now between Barnett and Josh Sweat. And in my video that I dropped about my reaction, I mean, people may want to take this as a negative because they're like, well, we want Josh Sweat to be that guy. Well, like, no, it's a good thing that they're a 1A and 1B because, I mean, Barnett is in a 5th-year option right now for $10 million.
Competition ain't over yet.
He needs to be in a position to show his worth, especially the fact that Derek's only 24 years old. There's going to be a lot of teams in the NFL chomping at the bit to want to get a first round.
We need those yak yards.
There's going to be a lot of teams chomping at the bit for that. But the most important thing to remember here, he's still a Philadelphia Eagle for one. And two, the idea of putting him on the opposite side with Josh Sweat and have them as a first string tandem is a pretty good concept to go down that rabbit hole with, because I mean, while it may not sound good on the surface with, Brandon Graham getting demoted to that second string, whether he would like that or not, and then pair him with Ryan Kerrigan. The important thing there is the fact that it's a perfect opportunity to transition into the new age of the defense, because the defensive line is one of the older positional groups on our team right now with Fletcher Cox up there, Brandon Graham's up there, Ryan Kerrigan is up there. The only real young anchor that we have left is Javon Hargrave, who we just picked up from the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's only 27 years old. So especially on the edge where there is still some age on the edge, you would want that kind of chance to see, well, let's find out if these two work together as a tandem on the first string and see if they can coexist that way. But the problem is, are you going to end up having to, pay both of them to keep them here? But we'll see in time on how well we're set up for 22. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that is it's a pretty good idea to throw up there in the air in regards to wanting us to take that next step in like euthanizing the football team.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I mean, when you have younger guys, they have more fresh legs than some of the older guys. So, but we're gonna have to see how it goes during the preseason.
Yeah.
For me, the best player should play. If you're old or young, it doesn't matter to me. You need to be able to be the best player. And that's something that did not happen during last year, specifically Travis Fulgham. You guys remember he got off to a hot start. Okay. And then all of a sudden, Jeffrey came back and it completely threw him off. And then, he was basically downhill after that. So we do not want to see that happen. Again, we don't want to see anybody playing favorites like in any way, whether they're young or old. Best players need to be on the field at all times.
And I like that idea, but I also think it is good that they're 1A, 1B, because no matter what, that right side is going to have someone coming off that right side guaranteed every time. You know what Graham can do. Graham can put that pressure on. You know, Kerrigan not having to be a starter is going to put that pressure on. You know, him and Graham, you got a veteran on one side. You know, they know how to use their veteran moves to get to that pass, the quarterback, and it cause havoc on that side. And then you got two young fresh bites that's going to be guaranteed. You know, most left tackles protects the blind side. So you got two guys on the same side, that's the blind side of the quarterback, that you're never going to have a play where there's going to be an old guy over there trying to come get him, you know, where you might get a free play, you know, situation. You'll have those young guys coming off that corner every single down the whole time, and I think it'll hold up a lot better. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it would be interesting to see both of them. You know, then you have a side-by-side comparison. But I kind of like the fact that there is a vet, you know, on the first rotation and the second rotation. We rotate our defensive line a lot. So, you know, the way we do rotate that defensive line now, it's going to always have a vet, and they're always going to have a young, you know, speedster coming off the other side on that blind side. You know, that might get those vets some more sacks. Plus, you want to use them while you still got them, because we all know that they're both coming to the end of their roads, you know, coming here shortly. So might as well use it and get the most out of them while you still got them.
Yeah, so I mean, it may work in that regard to experiment with it in the preseason, but you know, come regular season, yeah, you would want a little bit of diversity there between a veteran presence and, you know, and a youthful player, just to keep some sort of system going.
Yeah, definitely, and that was a huge reason why the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017 was because of the pass rush. They were so deep at the pass rush, like, you know, obviously. You have Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, who's both been here since Andy Reid was actually still here. You know, Brandon Graham was drafted in 2010, and Fletcher was drafted in 2012. You had your two main guys, and then you had other guys. You had guys like Chris Long, you know, and Barnett was a rookie that year. You were so deep. You had Timmy Jernigan that you picked up in a trade too. So you had all these different guys. You know, and they were always rotating in and out. They were staying fresh. So when you could get to the fourth quarter, your horses, like your main pass rushers, they're still fresh. They're still ready to go attack the quarterback when a lot of these offensive linemen are getting worn down in the fourth quarter. So I think it is going to be a huge part of the team's success this season.
Yeah, let's not forget the offense has to be proficient and you know, satisfactory enough to be able to give the defense a rest. So we're not having to rely on a constant, like, you know, interchangeable setup, and you know, give these guys an opportunity to get a breather on the field. So you know, just like we've seen it the last few years with, you know, we get on the field and it's either a 3-and-out or a turnover, and then the defense has to get back out there again. You know, so, but yeah.
Hopefully with that rotation, we can match them now, especially since we got Milton Williams, who's playing so good. You know, we talked about those four. Like, he's going to get some PT this time. I mean, this year. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's on the right side, the left side, no matter what, you're still going to have those two guys young on the left, the veterans on the right. But guess what? You're going to have him going side to side too, both sides, plus the D tackle spot. So, you know, I think we're really in good shape.
D-line is going to be a huge part of why we win a lot of games, as it has been the case for several years now.
Yeah. So how do y'all feel about Nick Sirianni having like two different offenses? One for the preseason and then one for the regular season, because like he really don't want to show his hand.
I agree with that.
I mean, with all the young guys that we have and only 3 preseason games, and you try and actually see what you have, how do you feel about all these different play calling? I mean, try and make it more complex than what it really is. So,
yeah,
I think every first-year coach always does that. You know, no one wants to come out and show any of their stuff. For real. You know, because that takes away your advantage. That's one of the reasons why we've been so successful the first year with our new coaches. Like, no one knew Andy Reid when he first came in. You know, Andy came in with a different offense that was before. When Chip came in, he tore it up in the beginning because he came with a different offense than he had before.
And your Chip, hey, you saw exactly what Chip was going to run. Yo, you couldn't just
Chip
stop
was
it.
game planning for the preseason.
Preseason, this dude came out like
This dude was game planning like it was the damn playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
in the preseason.
He came out fully loaded, blazing with the
stop it anyway.
That dude had us thinking Sam Bradford was gonna do something.
He got hurt though.
But
Sam got hurt. But Sam got hurt. See, that's the only reason why he did not continue, because he got hurt. Because Sam came out that preseason.
Oh, he's injury prone anyway. He always been.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that knee was
for
bad.
me. That was the biggest trade that pissed me off, because when we had Nick Foles, I'm even talking about before Nick Foles came back in 2017. Like, Nick Foles was a good quarterback that he did Chip Kelly's system really good, and we were always winning with Nick Foles, and he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna trade you for Sam Bradford, but he did a lot of moves that fucked the team up.
Yeah,
but we could talk about that stuff all day, man.
But that same Bradford trade also helped us get Carson Wentz, because we traded him to Minnesota, I think. Right? Yeah. Then we traded Bradford to Minnesota because Bridgewater went down, and then we got a first out of that.
We got Barnett with that first round pick.
So I was gonna say, did we manage to get a first for Sam?
I think we signed. I actually think we signed Sam Bradford to an extension.
Yeah.
Before we drafted Wentz, and then when we drafted Wentz, he got all pissed off about it, and then he got traded when Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. It was a lot of drama that offseason, man.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, as far as this playbook philosophy or formula goes, with having like two different ones, are they going to exactly be different? I don't necessarily think so, because for one, you don't want to confuse the players, and two, maybe there's going to be similar concepts, but the personnel may be different, the formations may be different. Just to add a little bit of confusion with the rest of the NFL and trying to figure out what you're doing. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about it, but like the whole thing with that is I want to. When I'm watching these preseason games, and then, after the preseason games, we're having joint practices with the Patriots and the Jets, and then those preseason games follow as well. But one of the things that I'm going to look for when we talk about the play calling and the playbook is the communication in general. Are the players grasping the concepts and, the plays that they are supposed to run in a simulated game setting instead of just practice.
So I know what you're saying. Like, I wouldn't call it two different offenses.
Yeah, no,
it's not two different offenses. It's just, you're not going to see Nick Sirianni. Like, we were just talking about Chip Kelly, how he was game planning in the preseason like it's a playoff. So I don't think Sirianni's going to do that. I think he's just going to he probably has a few plays that he likes that he's going to have them installed. So, if people, how the Eagles fan base is, they're going to overreact if he doesn't call like a masterful game. Like, people are going to be out here expecting to see like some Bill Walsh type of stuff, play calling. But you know what? Like, that's not what the preseason's about. It's just about knocking the rust off and getting ready for the season. So he ain't going to be out here game planning, showing his entire hand. Like, as the season goes on, we'll really see like what the depths of this offense can really be. But yeah, it's just, he probably going to have a few plays that he's going to be running. Nothing crazy for the first preseason game. You might see a little more in the second game, but this game probably ain't going to be anything too wild there.
All the vanilla plays. We got the whole playbook, but what are the least productive ones we got? Kind of setting where it's like you're not showing anything major, but you're still showing like the gist of the offense. Like, you're probably going to see some of the different formations we use, but the actual main plays in those formations we probably won't be.
You see, my only concern is that we're a young team. Like, the quarterback is young, the wide receiver is young. Yeah, my center's been in the league for 3 years, going on 4 years. But I mean, the offensive coordinator is young. The coaching staff is young. Like, we have a lot of young teams. So complications sometimes might be a little bit too much. I mean, if we just want to practice our plays to a perfection that we're gonna run throughout the season. But I mean, look, I understand. He said that he wants speed. He literally said that he wants speed. The 21 personnel, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you bring a fullback like Buckhalter and Westbrook. That's what I think about. And when he said 21 personnel, he wants to run, 2 tight end sets. The speed of it to me is what is more exciting me than anything else. I want to see some different plays than handing it off to the running back and good luck just finding a hole. I mean, I want to see that full back and a back or two running backs. You don't know who's going to get it.
They say Jack's
going to get it.
Full back for us.
So that's what I'm saying. So
how would y'all feel if we put in Malata
hell yeah.
fullback?
Hell yeah. Hey, as a running back.
Hey, watch his rugby highlights. Watch his rugby film. This dude used to be throwing people all over the place when he was playing rugby.
He needs to be like a goal line back.
I would let him do it on like a fourth and inches and stuff like that. I would try at least. I want to see. I would love Nick to try that out in the preseason and see how it works.
I think he will try it out in the regular season, a 3rd and 1, because
I can't believe Doug never tried that, bro. Doug, as much as he always goes for it.
Man, Doug done fell off after the Super Bowl.
They can get 3 yards every time if Mailata ran home.
Hell yeah.
Because he's big and strong. Plus, Brooks is big and strong. And if he's pushing each other, that power's moving back.
Oh, absolutely.
2 and 3 people. It don't matter how you have to put the whole defensive line on that side to stop those guys. Those guys are huge.
That's a big ass dude, man. Malata, he like 6'8".
Yeah,
350 pounds, man, and he can move. He's not slow, like he can move.
No. He can move and sing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw the video.
Oh, that boy good. That boy good.
Since we're actually on the subject about Jordan Malata, even though we've already talked about this before in the past, like about the whole competition with him and Andre Dillard, we pretty much all agreed that this competition has been over. So this is what I want to say about Andre Dillard. Obviously, he got injured again, which is, if he even had like a little bit of a chance to start, that shit's gone. It's gone. It's over. It's done with.
Yeah.
So you want to know something? I'm really concerned about him making the final team because I think this is going to hurt him if he's not able to play and show what he can do in the preseason. This is going to end up being bad, and I'm not exactly sure if he's going to make the final roster. And this is also going to be looked back on as another failed pick by Mr. Howie Roseman. Obviously, we got to give Howie some credit because he got Jordan Malata in the 7th round. Yeah. But he got Dillard in the 1st round.
But there's no
Dillard
pressure.
Hasn't done nothing.
But see, look, he get players that's good when there's no pressure involved. The late rounds. The early rounds, he's been a bust so far in the early rounds.
Devontae's probably the best player he's taken easily.
That's a common sense. That's a common sense one. But Sidney Jones was in the 2nd round. Dillard was in the 1st round. JJ was in the 2nd round. Look at those. Those, like, you put them together and you ship them out together. Like, they're all bust so far. But JJ, he's been another. Look, I know y'all hate JJ, but just based on the past coaching staff we had, that wasn't into developing players. We saw that when Frank Wright left, when Dave Filippi left. Like, we saw those players digress. And now all we hearing about is JJ. I hear more about good things from JJ than Rager. How the hell is that going on? Like, you know what I mean? If Watkins was not showing up and showing out, JJ would be the guy, the wide receiver that everybody been talking about. Rager has not.
I can't do this, man. With the I'm sorry, I can't do it with the JJ. We already saw what he did. Y'all remember when he had like that good game in the preseason, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, y'all better watch out!" And then when the regular season came and he was playing, people were like, "What the hell is this guy doing out here, man? Like, get him off the team."
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man. If he could be like the Paul Turner, like the
I still think-
preseason hero
Yep.
this year, like he was like a few
Varsity.
years ago. So, but I don't know, man. We're gonna. That's why you got to watch the game tomorrow to see stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the points that I was going to bring up is that, for the last couple of years now, Arcega-Whiteside has always shown up in training camp, but he hasn't in, regular season games for what it's worth. Now, is that a part of the rotation that the coaching staff has built for him in that kind of place? Maybe not. Part of it's on him and part of it's, on the belief of the coaching staff and the player that they have. Now, going into this season, this is the second year that wide receivers coach Aaron Moorhead has JJ Arcega-Whiteside for one. The second point is that we actually have consistency at that coaching position. This is the first time in the last 4 or 5 years or so that we've actually kept the same wide receivers coach, and that is good from a chemistry perspective. From that department of coaching in terms of just pretty much developing your players. So that's a good thing for Arcega-Whiteside. The other good thing that I do remember Jason Avant pointing out, because he's one of those guys where when he speaks, I listen. Plus he was on that coaching staff last year as an assistant to Aaron Moorhead. So he knows a little bit of what he's talking about, outside of playing for the Eagles and being a very good receiver. He was on that coaching staff as well. And he always felt that one of the last resort benefits that, Arcega-Whiteside may have a chance to revitalize his standings in Philly was putting him in the slot. So Arcega-Whiteside is now in the slot position. He's in the second team at the slot on the unofficial depth chart behind Greg Ward. So that kind of raised a little bit of what's going on here. So maybe this is going to be Arcega-Whiteside's. Maybe this is going to be his breakout, but it is a very speculative.
JJ got a ball out, and us fans are gonna lose our minds.
Yes,
that's what Jock Talk says.
We are. No,
everybody gonna be buying number 19 jerseys.
I don't know about that.
When you brought up Paul Turner, Jim, y'all noticed Mark and Michelle was back on the roster again.
Oh, I forgot about him. He was another one.
Yeah, so that's good to see. It sucks that Michael Walker was another victim of that injury designation waiver, kind of like Trevon Grimes was, and Nate Metters was a victim of that as well. And there was another corner that was a victim of that, but it is what it is. At least it's a good thing that we're getting fresh bodies in here, and he was another preseason wonder. I mean, in two preseason games, Markin had 7 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
He was killing it in the preseason.
I mean, we'll see. He's a decent size, 5'11", 190, 195. He's kind of built a little bit like Jalen Reagor in a sense, but he's a little less bulk, but we'll see.
But wait, for real, if Whiteside, if he makes the team, then who do y'all think is not going to make the team of our receivers?
Yeah, that's why I don't see him.
Depends how many we keep.
Hightower?
Hightower is the odd man out for me.
I think he was already out. So if you think about the people that's supposed to make it, it'll be Ward. If JJ make it, that means he's knocking Ward out of that spot.
I mean, well, should that mean we keeping 4?
He's got
5 wide out?
It would be no more than 5.
Yeah, so we got who?
5 tops.
Watkins,
it would be no more than 5.
Smith.
So Watkins, Reagor, Smith.
And then
Fulgham,
and then
JJ.
This shit is going to be wild.
Yeah, so Hightower and
Ward.
Yeah, I mean, oh shit.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I don't see JJ doing that.
I
don't see it happening, bro.
I don't see that working. But hey, guys, I hate to do this to you guys, but I got a live at 8. I thought we were going to be on at 6, so I got to roll out of here.
All right, man. So, yeah, you can go ahead and go, but before you head out of here, make sure you let everybody know that where they can follow you and all that stuff before you check out.
Yeah, guys, you guys can follow me on Twitter at BirdGang31 _P. or on here on the BirdGang31 channel for BirdGang Nation
Link in the
Sports Talk.
description.
Links in the description. And yeah, we got a group on Facebook. All you guys are welcome to come share your content too. JC's on there as well as already. It's called BirdGang Nation Sports Live. So it's basically full of Eagle content creators putting out our work live for the Eagles fans on Facebook. So yeah, man, I love being here with you guys, being able to do this roundtable with you. We definitely should do it again. And
we definitely will do it again.
If we didn't have the little mix-up thing, I would have been in here a lot longer. But I had this already pre.
All right, man. Well, you go in that stream and you go have a good stream, man. We'll see you on here next time.
Thank BirdGang Nation. We out, and I'll see you guys next time.
Good. See you, brother. All right, guys. So, is there anything else you guys want to go over?
The whole thing with the Zach Ertz thing, all right, because he's been Jalen Hurts' #1 target besides Devontae Smith, which is hurt now.
He's been out.
But yeah, so he's been out. So Zach Hurts been like Jalen Hurts' #1 guy. Every day it's Hurts to Ertz. Yeah, Ertz to Ertz. You know what I mean? I mean, look, so it's literally he is feeling confident in Zach Ertz. So what would you do if you get a trade offer for Zach Ertz, a 4th-round pick, and you know for a fact that you want this guy, your Jalen Hurts is your guy moving forward right now, and you want to surround him with as much weapons as you can? Would you get rid of the one guy, the one tight end that he got a rapport with, just to get a 4th-round pick and kind of like waste his, throw away the one person he had besides Smith? Because I don't hear Hurts
That's a tough question.
to Goddard or Hurts to Fulgham. It's Hurts to Smith or Hurts to Hurts. That's it. Those are the two guys. So what would y'all do? Especially, we don't need the money right now. We don't need it. We could wait till the trade deadline and see where we at record-wise, and then try to make a decision then. But what would you do right now if you get a trade offer for him?
That's a really good question, JC. For me, it would depend on how is the season going. Like you did just say, if he's really has really good chemistry with him, more so than other dudes on the team, then I would have to think harder about it. I would. But obviously the Eagles are trying to get some value out of him instead of seeing him walk as a free agent. So his trade stock is not as high as it's been in the years past. So that would depend on what teams would a team even offer a 4th-round pick for Ertz at this point during his career. So I'm not too sure about that, but if he's comfortable with Ertz, it is important for a young quarterback to have like that security blanket type of player. So for me, it does go both ways. It does.
So long as we don't see a Winston Ertz 2.0 all over again.
Right.
Exactly. Right. He broke the tight end reception that year.
As long as we don't,
because that's the only person he ever threw to.
See, this is the thing. I think it's going to depend on whether the Eagles genuinely want to keep Zach or not. Because I mean, you can't tell me that all that disgruntled heat between him and Howie Roseman has been thrown under the carpet. Like, you can't tell me that is completely gone and forgotten about, like it never happened. The whole reason that it occurred in the first place is that Zach felt disrespected, in terms of contractual compensation. Like, he wasn't getting the money that he felt that he deserved. So, could the situation just be at this point where he's just biting his tongue in front of the camera and just, and doing his part to look good, to where maybe he gets an opportunity to go to a contender or a place where he can thrive and feel the value that he thinks he's truly worth. I think that's the thing that we're trying to cope with, and trying to decide for ourselves as fans. But yeah, I can't imagine, even though him and Jalen Hurts look good right now, that doesn't necessarily spell that he's going to be here come week 1. Would the Eagles want that at $8.5 million? Sure, I think so. But at the same time, this hurts the extension talks that we just heard recently of within like the last month or so with Dallas Goedert, that they wanted to get an extension done for Dallas Goedert. So now you got Zach still here on $8.5 million, and then you got Dallas Goedert, who they're trying to extend. It's just, it's so much of a conflicting pattern there that, at the end of the day, you got to decide who you want. Do you want the up and coming youth, or do you want the guy who's still technically in his physical prime, but's going to end up being on the back half of his career, and get into a position where he gets an extension at 31 years old, and then he's going to start to regress at an expensive number, whereas with Goddard, he's going to continue to improve at a number that's going to be comfortable for the organization.
I agree with that. Yeah, you don't want another Alshon situation with a contract that you can't get out of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, if we don't got anything else, we're probably going to shut it down at this point. Been running for
one more thing.
Go ahead.
Just one more question. All right, so the running back depth right now, it's Sanders and it's Sanders, Howard, and I believe it's
Boston Scott.
Scott's the third string.
Yep.
So with all that being said, with the fake plays, with the hey, let me mask everything. So do you think the whole depth chart might be like us fans know who should be? So you think that Sanders, Howard, and Scott over Gainwell and Johnson will be?
Gainwell's a rookie. We don't know that much about him. Okay. As far as the guy from the Detroit Lions that came over, Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah.
He's been injured a lot with the Detroit Lions, so that's why Detroit ultimately went another direction, and they drafted DeAndre Swift last season. So I don't think Nick is. I don't think he's doing depth charts to blow smoke. I feel like Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott are 3 different types of players, 3 different types of running backs. And I feel like he wants to have 3 running backs on the team that all does something different,
Well, I mean, did we not have this dynamic back in 2019? It sounds also familiar with that mix. Miles was the number 1.
Really
you had Jordan Howard coming in, that thunder and lightning combination, and then you had that other dynamic in Boston Scott, who came up in emergence, because of injury. And that year, Miles was going through ankle issues, and then for what it's worth, Boston Scott appeared the most against the Giants. You're going to take that because it's an NFC East rival. But outside of those Giants games, there wasn't much contribution. But
Miles was hurt though. See, I think
he's not a starting caliber back.
No,
he's not a starting caliber back.
He's a change of pace, and that was the idea that they were going with at that point in time, and it still spells true under this new coaching staff, which I guess it's a good thing when you're Boston Scott. He's just like the rest of these. He's like the rest of the rookies.
He's the bodyguard of the team. Also,
they want to show their worth, but it is a unofficial depth chart, and part of that spells, as of right now, just an experimentation phase. This is a preseason game. This is before 3 roster cuts, before we get down to the final 53. There's 2 preseason games remaining. But again, this also reflects on how well the players are going through their practices and training camp. And from what we know, Kerryon Johnson necessarily hasn't been showing a whole lot. I mean, he's been disappointing for the most part, outside of being a guy that's very good in pass protection. And Jordan Howard is another guy that's good in pass protection. I mean, we have like 2 top 5 guys, running backs in that regard in the NFL. And yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but can they do more than just that? And Jordan Howard has been showing that. I mean, I think he's been one of the surprise stories. A guy being dropped by the Dolphins. He loses snap counts. He loses carries. He fell out in Miami. He gets picked up by the Eagles again. They gave him another chance. I mean, the guy's only 26, 27 years old, and that's not very old for a running back, even though their shelf life is pretty short. And, he admitted to us that no one else
has something to offer, I think.
Yeah, like no one else really gave Jordan Howard a chance, and he admitted that. Like the Eagles were his last resort, and he knows he's under the gun right now to keep his job alive, keep his career alive in the NFL. So, kudos to him for showing out in camp under a new coaching staff. But as of right now, this it's still pretty much an experimentation, but to see Jordan Howard as the number 2, it is a pretty bright light, and I do like that for him. But with Kenny Gainwell at the 4 and other guys, I think Jason Huntley is in that mix as well. I'm not going to read too much into it, and although Kerryon Johnson might be there as well, from a competition perspective, it's been him against Jordan Howard, so that competition's already stiff to begin with. But at the end of the day, we're going to stem this from the best ability is availability, and it's going to come down to who stays healthy. And I would take the guy that went through one shoulder stinger over a guy that is still recuperating from a meniscus tear. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, so who was there doing a Sunday night open practice?
I was there.
So I mean, look, when it was going 11-11, the first team had Boston Scott and Miles Sanders in the backfield. We could read something into that or not. I don't know, but I've seen what Boston Scott brings to the table.
Yeah.
When Miles Sanders was hurt, we really didn't have a much running game. So I don't see him as, even Jordan Howard. We saw what Jordan Howard had. Yes, he had that 3-touchdown game on a Thursday night against Green Bay, at Green Bay. And he showed up. But I would rather have Gainwell as a utility player. He could catch. He could run. He could do everything. Let me see what Gainwell have, or let me see what Johnson had, because we know what Boston Scott and Jordan Howard provide because they've been on the team the past 2-3 years. So let me see some fresh meat, some fresh blood. Maybe the offensive play calls might have been an issue with that. I know Lindsay was like, yeah, maybe it was just the play calls, but I want to see what they have to offer before I put them buried in 4 and 5, way back in the depth chart, playing against the number 2s, which you can't really tell a lot sometimes. You can't, because your number 2 is playing against their number 2. I want to see him play against the number 1s, the opposite of number 1. So, you know what I mean? So, I don't want to see 2s go against 2s. I want to see, hey, if you're number 2, I want to see you go against number 1 to really show me why I should bring you to the number 1. That's all I gotta say.
I hear you.
I think the only concern with that idea is the fact that based on our running back rotation right now, unless Elijah Holyfield comes out of nowhere, we don't have that bell cow type of back. I mean, Jordan Howard is really the only guy that we have. Kerryon, he's around that kind of stature, but he's not a guy that can really pound it in through the line on an inside zone and bounce off of tackles, and he's hard to bring to the ground because he's such a freight train in that regard. And we've seen that when we had LeGarrette Blount back in 2017. It was a dynamic that was hard to stop, and that was one of the reasons why we had the number 1 rushing offense in our Super Bowl run. So yeah, Miles can do it from time to time, but he's not built that way either. He has a dynamic to him where he can do a little bit of everything. Boston Scott, yeah, he can do a little bit of everything to a degree, but he's not built the same as these other guys. He's shorter in stature, but that gives him an advantage when you have him close, like under center next to the quarterback. He's just short enough that he's hard to see on the defensive side of the ball. Like he can hide behind some of our bigger offensive linemen, and that's an advantage that that he has. But when we talk about our running back rotation right now, there's a lot of similar guys that do a lot of similar things, but Jordan Howard to me is one of the only few that stands out in the ability that he has to be able to run guys over. I don't know if we have another running back that can do that.
Okay.
Fair enough. We will see how it plays out in the preseason. That's what the preseason games are for.
Can't wait.
So we'll watch tomorrow, and we'll revisit this conversation in the future.
Absolutely.
But before we get off of here, let's all go around and tell everyone where they can follow you and other things like that. Other things you're working on with your channels and stuff.
Well, guess we'll still go from top to bottom here, but y'all know me by now. This was the first collaboration realistically that I've had with JC and BirdGang. So shout out to y'all and making this an awesome experience. I've known Jim for a little bit here. We mesh pretty well together, and then it's just getting to know other people in the Eagles content creator community. That's the best part about
great community,
about the same team that we love, that we love dearly, in the sport that we either play or follow. But y'all know about my channel already. I'm the only one in the end zone for the touchdown, taking the lead for the Eagles one video at a time and dropping buckets for my
yes, sir. Dropping buckets, dropping dimes.
You can find me on Twitter under the same handle. I represent my channel over there, and we're still striving. Just hit 200 subs the other day, and we're still growing.
Oh wow, I did not know that, Jock Talk. JC.
Oh wow, that is good. I mean, Jordan, look,
that's crazy.
I think I was on somebody's channel, and I was like that we should literally use Jordan Howard and Kerryon Johnson in a fourth quarter. 1-2 punch. We up or we down by like 7 or 3. And we beat their butt in because those are two bell cows. I mean, they're good in pass protection and they're good in running hard down the, just straight down, and they could catch. So either way, but that's my dream scenario. Miles Sanders, Gainwell, the first 3 quarters. And then you bring on Jordan Howard and Kerryon Johnson to close the deal. But that's just a dream. I'm just a fan. So I ain't got no say in it. But anyway, hey, look, you can find me on JC Eagles Talk, the same handle on their Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, of course. I love collaborating with people that actually are mature and able to speak facts and not out their butt. You know what I mean? So
appreciate it. I'll take that as a compliment.
Good. I mean, and you should, because I don't try to do shows with a lot of people. Yes, I'm just starting. You know what I mean? I got 400, I believe, in almost 430 subs. But at the same time, I mean, I try to, every day, try to look up my research before I come on and talk.
Right, you gotta know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just try to talk to mature people also, and not no kids. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I enjoyed tonight, and I appreciate you guys bring me on and stuff like that. And I look forward to more. I mean, maybe we should.
We'll definitely do it again.
Roundtable right before the season starts, when the official depth chart is completely solid and over with, and then we could really have a conversation.
You never know. This could become like a weekly thing.
Us
getting together.
Look, I'm down. So I'm down, man. So whatever y'all want, I'm there. Hey, I appreciate every one of you fans watching, soon to be fans watching, or haters watching. It's all good. Hey, we welcome y'all all. Just hit that button. Hit that like button. Even if you're a hater, if you hit that like button, it push it out to other haters like you or other fans like you. So it is what it is.
Come get it, haters.
So come get it.
Come get it. Yeah. Well, with that being said, guys, we appreciate everyone tuning in, and we will see you guys later.
Yes, sir.